Welcome back to Radio Row in New Orleans, site of Super Bowl 59 between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. It's the Mojo at the New Orleans Convention Center. Our next guest is a draft-eligible big man out of the University of Oregon, Marcus Harper II. He is working the rounds at Radio Row. Man, you've got this thing down pat, dude. What's going on?
Hey, man, Big Mark got a big personality doing big things, man. What can you say?
So tell us, you're just out here just gaining experience, I know you got a platform. You got podcasts, right?
Yes,
So
I do.
for you, it's just getting that experience and getting around?
Getting those reps, man. I mean, the same thing on the football field, just doing it off the field. So kind of just doing it a lot prematurely, but it's all good, man. I'm versatile on the field. I can be versatile off the field,
Do you know
too.
the one thing you mentioned, reps, and I'm glad you did, because I remember talking to Chad Brown, who played in the NFL for the Steelers and the Patriots and the Seahawks, great linebacker.
Right.
And he was in the radio game. I just saw kind of the evolution. I asked him, I said, man, how come, how's it going? He goes, it's like football, man. It's reps.
Yeah.
You just got to practice. There's a guy that I'm not going to mention his name in Canada,
Yeah.
did some work with us, and
Right.
it's kind of, whatever, right?
Right.
And they kind of oh, dude, he goes, if you want to be good at this,
Yeah.
you've got to work at it,
Yes.
and you've got to put your reps in and your preparation.
Yes.
And his career took off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's I do play-by-play for the CFL team,
Okay.
and it's I'm studying tape. I'm doing this because if I go into a game not knowing numbers or not knowing some things, it's like you know what? I talked to Nate Burleson, right?
Okay.
You know Nate Burleson,
Yes.
CBS ex-NFL.
Yes.
And he was doing the game for Nickelodeon. He was doing the Super Bowl. I think it was
Okay.
last year, 2 years ago.
Right.
And he said, it's like a game.
Yeah.
It's like that game
Yeah,
mentality.
the game
right?
pressure, yeah.
Yeah, you got to do it. So
Yeah.
you enjoy it, though.
Absolutely.
Where's it come? So you're a Chicago guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Born and raised.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not too many ballers come out of Chicago. Usually it's basketball, right?
Special, bro. I'm
Yeah.
special. I thought basketball was going to be the route. 8th grade, I was about 5'11", but I had I was a little bit, thicker. And I was basketball wasn't, for me. Freshman year, I tried out for football. Kind of knew I was going to be, decent. And then I remember I was playing left tackle trap, kick out somebody, helmet flew off. I was like, okay, I'll be special.
Do you remember that first practice? Because I think a lot of guys that I talk to, I know I remember my first practice.
Unfortunately,
it was just you're like a duck to water.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
It was terrible. I mean, I had a old bucket helmet, and it was whatever. But I remember the bottom chin strap was on the top, buckle, pads were just all lopsided. I felt like it was like a deer in headlights. But I mean, it kind of morphed to me, and I became one with the pads, and so they fell in love with me.
Marcus Harper II is our guest offensive lineman out of University of Oregon. He's going into the NFL draft this year. 3-year starter at Oregon. Did not allow a sack.
Yes.
Man, I'm telling you, if you're that good at pass pro, things don't work out in the NFL. I got you a deal with the BC Lions in the Canadian Football League. I'm calling it right now. It's funny because we talk about Oregon. Huge connection with the Canadian Football League. There's a lot of guys that have played in Oregon, went on, and, you go back to the days of Jeremiah Mazzoli, Vernon Adams Jr., Bo Lacumbo. Jeremiah Johnson was a running back there. So many guys come up. Why choose Oregon?
Why? I mean, it was kind of like a why not deal. Coming out of Chicago, again, Chicago's not a conventional football state.
Yeah.
Oregon at the time, they were losing a lot of offensive linemen, and they needed a lot of they had a lot of opportunities for me. And so I looked at it, I was like, well, I'm new to this football thing, but I'm very confident in my abilities and what I can do on the field. And so I was like, why not, give me a chance to go and explore a lot of the West Coast because, like you said, I'm a Midwest guy, naturally at heart. And it ended up working out because, again, we ended up, this past season playing more Big Ten, in the Big Ten Conference. So I kind of got the best of both worlds by going out to Oregon years later. But, yeah, I mean, it was the best thing for me, put me in an uncomfortable situation early on in my life. So
you learn a little bit about yourself that way through that
Absolutely.
adversity, right?
Absolutely.
Away from home, your friends, it's like, you don't have those, I don't want to say crutches, but those support
safety nets.
systems.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to learn a lot about yourself. Tell me about the Big Mark Show.
Yeah, Big Mark Show was a little opportunity I got to be on with Sports Illustrated. We had a lot of guys.
That was good.
Yeah.
Big Mark, little opportunity. I like that. See,
yeah.
You're good. You're good.
And so we had a lot of star-studded guys on this team this past year, and so I wanted to give our fans an insight into our guys beyond the helmet. So many times we're talked about in just what we do in the helmet. I wanted to get guys opportunity and the platform to kind of just, hey, we don't even got to talk about football or sports. Who are you as a human? And I had guys like Bryce Betcher, Evan Stewart, Kenny Farr, our equipment manager. I had everyone up and down the line. Bring some transfers in there. Just talk about, who are you? What can the Duck fans get to know you and connect with you outside of your sport? So
that's so cool because a lot of times you're going to find maybe similar interests, something that piques your curiosity. I mean, everybody, you see the bios. Started 17 games.
Exactly.
We know that, right? It's like, tell us what you like, what you're into. you're talking about your media career and working towards your goal of playing in the NFL, and just talking about all these things that you've done and come from. So that to me, like, I love the way you're ahead of the game. Let's talk a little bit about the draft.
Yeah.
You're projected to be a day 2 pick, round 2 or 3 in the round, second or third round. I mean, what's that going to mean to you when you get that phone call saying that you've been selected by an NFL team?
I mean, it's going to be the world to me. If you would have told me 5 years ago when I came to University of Oregon that I would come out on the back end of this and, have all the accolades that I do and then be opportunity to be drafted and as high as that, I mean, I would have told you, bro, you're crazy. So it'll just be a surreal moment, just a blessed moment, a grateful moment, just because, like, look, a lot of guys, especially from Chicago, don't get an opportunity to go to Oregon alone.
Yeah.
And then when they do get opportunity, they don't turn it, and make it even more special than what it is. So it'll just be a full circle moment, and it'll be something that, I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Yeah, and I think, like you talk to guys when they have those type of moments, whether it's a championship or being drafted or whatever, all those things come back into play, like, your first coach, your parents, how much they push you, that time you're going to quit.
Yeah.
Right? And
oh, yeah.
Did you have one of those moments?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I remember my coach, Tom Cicero, offensive line coach, and he pulled me up to varsity my sophomore year, second year playing football.
Okay.
Like, what am I doing up here, right? And so he tells me, like, going through practice and things like that. And I actually skipped practice one day because I'm like, bro, this is just too much for me. I told my mom, like, pull me out, like, get me out of here. And he told my dad, he was like, look, I'm not going to let him go back down to sophomore. Like, that's too easy for him. Like, he has to be pushed, like, to get him to where I am today. So me and him laugh on it now, but when I was, like, 13, 14, I hated it. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, it molded me into the man I am today, so I could do nothing but.
Well, I'll tell you a little story. I know you're probably not a big hockey fan. I don't know. Maybe you are a Blackhawk fan. I don't know.
Man, when they won, I was turned for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you're all into, like, those. But anyway, there's a guy named Cam Neely before your time. He was a local guy. He got inducted in the Hockey Hall of Fame eventually. Okay. The night he got his jersey retired by Boston, I asked him that question because there's a related story. And I said, you ever think of quitting? He says, yeah. He goes, when I was like 15, I was playing midget. He goes, all the guys on the team were 16. They're all driving to the game. I felt ostracized. I felt alone. I was getting driven to the game by my dad. I almost quit. Yeah. My dad said, no, you're not going to quit. If you want to quit at the end of the year. Yeah. Don't quit now because you took somebody's spot. Guy's in the Hockey Hall of Fame now. And just think how close he came to just saying, I'm not going to play at all.
Everyone has that moment in their career, and I think that gives an insight into who you are just prematurely, where are you going to fold or are you going to you'll persevere through it. And there's been many times where I've had to rely on that even in my career at Oregon. Like, look, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, you look at the situation that you got in front of you, it's like, what am I missing? I know I'm special on the inside. Like, you can't shake that off of me, but what is it? And so I always rely back on that experience. And, I mean, it's helped persevere me through football and it's helped persevere me off the field. And
it's life skills you learn through the game.
And I learned it so early that it's so second nature now that I don't blink twice at it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we know you got to run. This has been outstanding, man. You've been so much fun to talk to, so refreshing. Just do me a favor.
Got you.
Marcus, just do me a favor.
What's up?
Like, when you come back on Radio Row 3-4 years from now and you're a Pro Bowl player and you got like an entourage, like 8 people, you're representing Bounty for like $50,000 an hour or whatever, and you're walking around and I say, hey, Marcus, you got a little time? Don't give me the who you again, right? Give me Canada. I got you after I'm done with the folks from Bounty or whatever.
I got you.
You got it?
I got you.
All right, man. Thanks so much for doing this. Hey, and best of luck in the NFL.
Thank you.
Best of luck with the NFL draft. You're an outstanding young man and a great interview as well.
Appreciate that.